Hi, my name is Guy Andrews and I'm doing a video essay for my stop motion advert. So at first I sent out a questionnaire asking all the people in my class what they thought of my animation. The first question was if the advert would be acceptable to be on TV. To my delight, everyone said yes, which is always good. This shows that the advert is actually set out in a good way for it to be shown on TV. Second question talked about lighting, and I asked if the production seemed colourful. This got very mixed responses. Some said it was nicely lit and looked really colourful. Others said that they didn't think the lighting was very good. Personally, I think that it started well, but then later on got sort of gloomy. It still seems acceptable, but it would have been better if it hadn't been messed with. Third question was asking if they thought the advert could sell tea. Only one person said no, but they didn't explain why. All the other people said yes, which is good because it was a big number. But this also backs up the fact that it would be suitable to be on television. Fourth question is asking whether you think the production is good as an advert, or should it be a different ident. Almost everyone said that it works well as being an advert and should stay like that, and not be something like a music video. That's good because it means I've successfully chosen the right ident for my production. The fifth question talked about what the audience liked about the advert. It's got a lot of mixed answers. Quite a few people said that they liked the end result when all the things like the tea bag and the sugar cubes all went into the teacup. Some people said that the music went really well with it, and others said that it looked really smooth, and that's what they liked. The sixth question asked what the audience did not like about the advert. This again got many mixed results. A few said that the lighting wasn't very good, others said that it went on for too long, and then some people said it just could have had more music. I would agree about the lighting, and it did drag on a bit too long. The seventh question asked what people thought about the storyline, and if it was easy to follow. Most of the responses from this answer were yes, which is very good, meaning that the story was easy to follow. But there are a few people who said they didn't really understand what was going on. The eighth question asked if the video had a good frame rate. This actually got really good feedback, and a lot of people said yes. I did take over 1,200 photos, so I'm glad that it has a very good frame rate, because that's what I was hoping for. The ninth question was about what people thought about the lighting. This is quite similar to the previous question asked what they thought about the colour. Again, this also got mixed reactions. Many said that they thought the lighting was fine, others said it was alright but it wasn't great. Personally, I think the lighting was one of the main issues of the video, but it wasn't all that bad, because it started off quite nice but then afterwards it got a little bit gloomy and stayed the same. The 10th question asked what people thought of the shots used. Most of them said it was good, which is always a good answer. The rest seem to be stupid answers that people haven't really taken seriously, but overall I think the video has a good use of shots. There isn't a wide range of shots used though. I mainly just did mid and wide shots when taking photos. I struggled a lot when trying to move the camera and taking shots as well. And when filming I did slightly different shots, but it still looks good. I'm going to compare two animators now that we have looked at in the past on my stop motion animation. I'll talk about what was similar between the two and what was different. The first one I'll be talking about is Aardman Animations and their John Lewis Insurance advert. I think this is a tough one to relate to, but I think there are a few similarities we can talk about. A couple people said this advert was quite similar to mine. I can see what they mean in some senses, but the video wasn't actually any inspiration to my Twinings advert. Obviously both of them are stop motion, but they are also objects and not models made out of plasticine. They're all moving towards something, like mine. The tea bag and the sugar cubes and all that are making their way towards a teacup so they can get made. I would say it's in the same genre, but I would also say there isn't a certain storyline between the two adverts. The objects have purposes, but there's no real meaning behind it apart from that. Aardman focuses entirely on animation. They do it in so many different ways too. Some stop motion animation, others are CGI animation. I would just say that my advert is somewhat similar to their advert, but overall the company does a very different approach to stop motion than I do. The second animator I'll be talking about is Pez. Pez is an American animator, and I'll be comparing it to his Western Spaghetti one. This is a completely different story though. In my animation, all the objects are making their way into a tea, and in his, it revolves around a person who is making a meal using ingredients and toys and objects that would be found in Western culture. I would say it is different, than the fact is Pez is much more diverse and uses all sorts of different objects, whereas mine just focuses on things that would go in tea, whereas the things he used you wouldn't actually put in any recipes. I think the video went well. The camera was quite shaky during shots, but I tightened the tripod tightly so it would be still, but it appears to be in a few shots that are still slightly shaky. In the beginning, it was quite nicely lit, but then later on the lighting went down a lot and it sort of made it look bad, but I don't think it's like a terrible error. The lighting seems to be stable for the rest of the video. Overall though, I would say I'm happy with the outcome of it, but I would want to fix the lighting issue and the slightly shaky camera. It also went on for a bit longer than it should have, but the brief did say that there had to be at least 30 seconds of animation, and that seems to be the case, and there's around 20 seconds of film footage, so I think it works out fine honestly. The frame rate I think was really good. I managed to take around 1,200 photos for the entire thing, but only ended up using around 1,000 due to it going on for too long. But I don't mind because it still looks really good. If I was to try and improve my animation, then I would try and find a switch I can use instead of pressing down on the camera to take photos instead. That way the end result wouldn't come out as really shaky. I would also try to get some lighting equipment and put it in lots of different angles so there wouldn't be any problems there. I would also see if I could find something stronger than blue tack to hold up objects when climbing up something, or halfway up or down a different object. When I was filming the tea bag coming out of the tin, it would sometimes fall off due to the blue tack not being strong enough. I think I am suited for the animation industry now. I followed a brief and set up my kitchen for filming, taking photos of the objects and moving it slightly every time. I now know how to professionally do a stop motion video. I have sent out questionnaires asking what people thought about it, and I have received good feedback from it. The reason I did stop motion animation was because we were looking at briefs in class. We had to choose one out of several. I chose the advert brief because I've always been interested in making adverts. Some of the other briefs in the area I wasn't particularly interested in, but this seemed like the best one to pick out of them all. Luckily, I didn't face any legal issues when making this advert. I used royalty-free music, and Twinings didn't seem to have a problem with me advertising their brand, but I imagine this is due because I didn't put the company in a bad light. I even put the advert on their Twitter feed, and they still didn't mind. I believe I have met the requirements for the brief. It is set up in a way an advert should be, I used stop motion, and there also had to be at least 30 seconds of animation. And counting it up, there are. The advert goes on for around 50 seconds, but the other 20 is based off of film footage, whereas the other 30 is just stop motion pictures. This video came out good, but I know how to do it much better now, and have proper experience working with stop motion.